The Elite Four, some of the most unique characters across the Pokémon franchise. From their intimidating demeanors to their sleek character designs, each one has an iconic presence, except for the music that plays when you battle them. In Generations 1 and 2, the Elite Four battle music is actually the same as the Gym Leader battle music, and it's the same song that plays for each character. But what if each Elite Four member had their own unique battle theme? Well, you won't have to wonder for too long, because that's what I'm here to do. Create unique original battle themes for each character. And I'll be using a unique approach that I call the letters to notes methodology, where we repeat the alphabet across the musical notes A through G. We can take any name or word, spell it out on the piano to create a melody. We can then take multiple melodies and combine them into one full theme song. In this video, we will be exploring the Elite Four members and the champion of the Johto region. That includes Will, Koga, Bruno, Karen, and Champion Lance. Okay, let's get right into it with our first character, Will. So let's break down all the words and names we will be using in each of these songs. First off, I like to take the name of the character as well as the type that they represent to create the chorus of the song. So in this first case, Will and Psychic. And while those two words will be unique to Will, there will be some words that appear throughout all of the songs. Specifically the words Indigo Elite Four. What this does is create a musical leitmotif that connects all of the characters together. We'll also be creating another leitmotif with Psychic Type Trainer. This creates the trainer motif and also emphasizes the typing that was played in the chorus. Next is arguably the most important part of the songs, the Pokémon teams. Will has two Zatus, a Jinx, Slowbro, and an Executor. Having two Zatus is actually really cool because it gives us a repeated melody to play around with. Also, I will not be exploring their rematch teams. I like to have these songs represent the first experience that you have fighting these Elite Four members. So that'll be the basic structure moving forward, but I wanted to try to add one more phrase within each song. Something that really represents each character more specifically. In Pokemon TCG Pocket, there is a themed collection where Will actually has a title or an epithet. Normally, only the gym leaders have epithets, but Will is kind of the only exception across all of the Elite Four characters. So his epithet is the Man in the Mysterious Mask. I usually do my best to try to keep the names and words that I use within these songs within the context of the actual games, but I felt like I had to throw this in there. It just felt fitting for Will. For the style and genre of this song, since Will is kind of portrayed as like a masquerade, magician type of vibe, I went for like a dark circus kind of vibe for this theme. Ironically enough, I kind of took tiny inspiration from Will Wood and the Tapeworms, who fits within that sort of dark circus kind of style. The final criteria is naming these songs. What I did was scan through all of their dialogue and tried to find words that really stood out to me. Anything that felt pretty unique to only what that character would say and fits the context of the theming of the song. So without further ado, here is Will's original battle theme called Around the World. The second member of the Johto Elite Four is Koga. Koga was previously featured in my Badge-Bound Kanto album, where I made an original battle theme for him as a gym leader. But in the Johto games, he gets promoted to an Elite Four member. It was actually pretty tricky to create another battle theme for characters like Koga, Bruno, and Lance, who were all featured in previous projects, videos, and albums. One thing I did in general for these three characters was raise the key signature by a half step. This added some extra intensity in each of their songs while still staying true to the names and words that we spell out using the letters to notes methodology. But aside from that, it was still kind of hard to figure out how to make these songs sound a little different from their previous iterations. Koga's wasn't too bad though, since we were working with a different group of words this time around. Instead of words like Fuchsia City Gym Leader or Soul Badge, we are now implementing Indigo Elite Four and Poison Type Trainer. And of course the chorus still has Koga Poison in it. His Pokemon team consists of Ariados, Venomoth, Fortress, Muck, and Crobat. As for the additional phrase, well, I won't spoil this one. I'll let you see what I went with when you listen to the actual song. For the style, it only made sense to keep it within the same genre of dark Japanese rock. Alright, here is Koga's Elite Four battle theme called Sinister Techniques. The third member of the Johto Elite Four is Bruno. Now, this one might have been one of the most difficult ones I have had to do so far. With Koga, I talked about how it wasn't too bad transitioning into a new battle theme since we were using a new set of words. But Bruno doesn't have that convenience since he is still a part of the Indigo Elite Four. We will also be reusing Fighting Type Trainer, and of course the chorus will be Bruno fighting. His Pokemon team only has one slight change-up. His previous Pokemon team consisted of Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, 2 Onyxes and a Machamp. But this time around, he replaces one of his Onyx with a Hitmontop. This was actually really tricky to work around because in his previous song, having the 2 Onyx was really cool to have a similar motif playing in between the Pokemon teams. Same concept with how we tackled Will's theme with the 2 Zatus, right? But I think I found a decent workaround that made that section still sound pretty similar while removing one of the Onyx and putting in the Hitmontop instead. In terms of an additional phrase to add to this song, I really liked how he says hoo-ha, but instead of turning those words into a melody using the letters to notes methodology, I decided to just add some gang vocals to emphasize that hoo-ha. That felt natural to do, and I actually had some people comment that I should have done something similar with that in his first battle theme. So I thought this would be a good time to add it in now. But I still really wanted to change up his song just a little bit in some capacity. And what I actually decided to do coincides with the name of this song, which is Overwhelming Power. For the chorus, I decided to add a different chord progression to add some intensity to that moment. But it still has that fighting Bruno motif playing over it. So it sounds similar, but has a different feel to it. The final change I made to this song was the very beginning. I actually took inspiration from Mustard's final battle music from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Imagine this: you enter his room, approach Bruno while he is sitting cross-legged, his back turned to you, that kind of trope where he talks to you without looking at you at first, says something along the lines of, "I am Bruno of the Elite Four. I always train to the extreme because I believe in our potential." And as he's yapping, he slowly stands up and turns to face you. I feel like that trope probably has a name, but I don't really know what you would call that. But try to imagine that scenario as you listen to Bruno's battle theme called Overwhelming Power. The final member of the Johto Elite Four, Karen. You know, I actually had some trouble working on Karen's theme as well. I like to create these songs live on stream. Not only does my community get to see the creative process live in real time, they also get to be a part of the process by leaving suggestions in the chat. So those who tuned into the live stream got to see what happened with this song. We originally had one direction with it, but I wasn't too happy with the results as we were going. But after trying a different approach, I landed on something that I really liked. Usually with the letters to notes methodology, when I pick a key, I often like to stick to the letters relative to that key. For example, Karen's theme ended up in the key of D Phrygian. Within that context, the name Karen would spell out D, A, D, E flat, G. And the word dark would spell out D, A, D, D. But the letters to notes methodology is more so a guide than anything. While it is cool to stay true to it as much as possible, sometimes I like to bend the rules a little bit. Technically, that E flat key can be considered a D sharp key. So for the word dark, I ended up going with D, A, D, D sharp, or also known as E flat in this case. This really flowed well with the overall concept of the song. So we bend the rules a little bit, but hey, they're my songs, so I'll do whatever I want with them. And if you've tried creating music with the letters to notes methodology, don't let those guidelines be a constraint to you. Feel free to bend the rules a little bit as you please as well. So a bit of a ramble there, but let's go over the words we're using for this song real quick. Dark, Karen, Indigo Elite Four, Dark type trainer, and her Pokemon team consists of Umbreon, Vileplume, Gengar, Murkrow, and Houndoom. And of course, I had to add Karen's infamous quote, "Truly skilled trainers should try to win with their favorites." That seemed like that might be a pretty lengthy quote to put in there, but trust me, it ended up working out pretty well. You'll hear it once you listen to the song. As for the style, I wanted to go for something like a dark, glamorous pop kind of feel. I don't really know how to describe it, but try to imagine Karen striking a pose every time there's a big hit that happens in the song. I think people portray her as like a fashionista. I guess her character is sort of based off of the beauty trainer type. So that's why I kind of went with a glamorous pop kind of vibe, but in a dark sense since she is a dark type trainer. Alright, with all of that out of the way, here is Karen's original battle theme called Selfish Perception. And now the final character we will be tackling in this video, Champion Lance. Just like Koga and Bruno, I already made an original battle theme for Lance as an Elite Four member in Elite Bound Kanto. But since we will be including the word champion this time around, I really wanted to try to change the feel of his song. Last time we went with power metal, with Dragon Force being our main inspiration, but I really didn't want to go the power metal route again. And what I went with this time, it's really hard to explain. Genres are kind of loose and interpretive sometimes, but if anything, I will describe this as orchestral synth rock. And since he's the champion, I didn't want to go with Indigo Elite Four as the motif, but I went with Indigo Plateau instead. We still kept Dragon type trainer, the chorus obviously stays as Lance Dragon, and this time we went with his champion Pokemon team, which consists of 3 Dragonites, a Gyarados, Charizard, and Aerodactyl. Whenever a trainer has multiples of a Pokemon, like Dragonite here, it really gives us this creative freedom to utilize that melody repeatedly. So you'll see that we go back and forth between Charizard, Dragonite, Gyarados, Dragonite, Aerodactyl, Dragonite. It makes the song sound more cohesive. Alright, I hope you enjoyed Champion Lance's original battle theme called No Need for Words. And there you have it, Elite Bound Johto complete. You'll be able to find Elite Bound Johto on my Bandcamp right now, alongside the rest of my discography of the Bound series. Downloading and owning your music is so important in this day of age, and it also directly supports me as a musician, producer, and content creator. So if you make your way over to Bandcamp to download my music, I truly appreciate it. And if you are not familiar with my Bound series, you can see where it all began with this playlist right here. Thanks for watching.